This is the story of a famous billionaire. Imagine sitting in a classroom where the teachers think you're not very bright, your grades are average, you struggle to keep up. Friends and family quietly lower their expectations of you. Now imagine that same person grows up to build one of the world's biggest business empires. That's the story of Richard Branson. On paper, he didn't look like the kind of student people expected to become successful. He had dyslexia. But here's what's fascinating. His success was not because he matched society's definition of intelligence. He succeeded because society's definition was actually incomplete. Psychologists have spent decades discovering some counterintuitive facts. For instance, some of the habits people mistake for weakness, overthinking, changing your mind, questioning yourself, even feeling like you don't know enough, can actually be signs of a highly developed mind. Yet most of us have been taught to recognize intelligence by the wrong signals: the highest grades, the quickest answers, the biggest vocabulary. But what if those are only a tiny piece of the pie? What if some of the people who quietly believe they're just average are actually demonstrating the kinds of thinking that psychologists and neuroscientists categorize as real signs of intelligence? Today, we're going to explore 6 of those surprising signs that indicate you may be far more intelligent than you've ever given yourself credit for. Interestingly, sign number 6 explains a habit millions of people feel embarrassed about. Let's try a quick experiment. Picture the smartest person you knew growing up. Maybe they had perfect grades, or everyone copied their homework. Now ask yourself, did they automatically become the most successful adult you know? Probably not. Some did, many didn't. That's because school measures only a narrow slice of human intelligence. Psychologist Howard Gardner, in his theory of multiple intelligences, argued that intelligence isn't one single ability. It encompasses qualities like creativity, emotional insight, curiosity, and adaptability. The world changes too fast for intelligence to mean having all the answers. Instead, the greatest minds are often the ones that learn the fastest. If you recall having a classmate with fantastic grades but not yet successful, like and share this video with them so they learn more about intelligence. Researchers Alexander Penny and Jeremy Kaplan found an interesting relationship between higher verbal intelligence and greater levels of worry and rumination. They discovered that a mind capable of generating many possible scenarios doesn't naturally stop after considering just one. It keeps on running mental simulations, and running multiple simulations requires a high level of intelligence. So, if you catch yourself overthinking, it might just be a sign you have an intelligent mind. Let's illustrate. Imagine you're planning a holiday. One friend immediately books the cheapest flight. Done. Another spends 2 hours comparing prices, reading reviews, checking weather forecasts, thinking about airport transfers, calculating baggage fees, wondering if prices might fall tomorrow. Frustrating? Absolutely. But notice what's happening. Their brain isn't stuck, it's simulating, scanning for more possibilities, and more possibilities often result in intelligent decisions. Now here's a simple challenge. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, don't immediately label it as a flaw. Instead, ask, am I catastrophizing or am I gathering information? One traps you, the other prepares you. Learning the difference might save you years of unnecessary self-criticism. Let's play another quick game. Which of these sounds more like you? Person A only learns something when it's required: an exam, a project, a practical problem. Person B starts searching, why do cats purr? An hour later, they're watching a documentary about the physics of sound. Then somehow, they're learning how medieval shipbuilders designed wooden hulls. If your answer is person B, then you have a high level of curiosity. And curiosity is one of intelligence's brightest shades. Think of curiosity as a magnet. Most people wait for information to come to them. Curious minds chase it. Every random fact is another piece of knowledge. Over time, those pieces begin connecting in unexpected ways. And according to James Webb, author of the book A Technique for Producing Ideas, that's often where creativity comes from. combining existing ideas in new ways that most people never thought belonged together. Here's a tiny challenge for you. Open the Notes app on your phone. Write down 3 questions you've been curious about recently, questions you simply want answered. Then spend 15 minutes exploring just one of them. You might be surprised where it leads. Let us know in the comment section. Have you ever watched a documentary, read a fascinating book, or listened to a podcast and thought to yourself, wow, I know so little about this? That feeling may actually be a sign that you have a habit that builds intelligence. The Greek philosopher Socrates is credited with the famous idea, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. He wasn't saying we literally know nothing. He was pointing out that wisdom begins when we recognize the limits of our own understanding. Modern psychology echoes this idea. Researchers studying metacognition have found that people who accurately recognize what they know and don't know often become more effective learners. They notice gaps and adjust their approach instead of assuming they've mastered everything. It's one reason billionaire investor Charlie Munger spent decades reading across psychology, engineering, biology, economics, history, and physics instead of limiting himself to finance. He believed that intelligent decisions come from building a broad latticework of mental models rather than relying on a single discipline. Now, here's something you need to keep doing to build your intelligence. The next time you catch yourself saying, "I already know that," replace it with, "What am I still missing?" That tiny question keeps curiosity alive, and curiosity turns out to be a strong sign of intelligence. Have you ever been staring out the window while someone asked, "Are you even listening?" You weren't ignoring them. Your brain had wandered into an internal simulation. Psychologists call this reflective thinking, and it's one of the signs of intelligence. Reflective thinkers often do something not very common. They are known for mentally connecting their thoughts, actions, and past experiences over and over again. That internal dialogue explains why intelligent people sometimes appear distracted. The truth is, most people can't stand silence. The moment they're alone, they reach for their phone or anything to fill the space. But intelligent people do something completely different. They lean into the silence and into their head, not because they're antisocial, but because their inner world is unusually active, replaying questions, connections, ideas, memories, and old conversations from different angles. So ask yourself, when you are alone, what usually happens? Do you immediately look for distraction, or do your thoughts naturally begin exploring ideas? Let us know in the comments section. Let's do a quick experiment. Think about an opinion you've completely changed in the last 5 years. Politics, health, money, relationships, anything. Got one? Good. Now here's the surprising thing. That might be evidence of intelligence. Research consistently finds that cognitive flexibility, the ability to update beliefs when presented with new information, is strongly associated with higher-level thinking. Yet most people see changing their minds as weakness. Why? Because our brains hate being wrong. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. Once we believe something, our minds become lawyers defending it. But intelligent people do something unusual. They treat beliefs like hypotheses. Let's illustrate. Imagine 2 captains navigating through fog. One says, "I know exactly where we're going." He ignores the compass. He refuses to check the map. His confidence sounds reassuring. The other says, "I think we're heading north, but let's keep checking." He constantly updates his course, adjusts for the wind, and checks new information. Which one would you rather trust? Exactly. The second captain may sound less confident, but he's much less likely to crash the ship. And here's the irony. The smarter you become, the more comfortable you become saying, "I might be wrong." Here's a challenge. Think back to the last time someone proved you wrong. What was your first reaction? Did you become defensive? Did you immediately search for reasons they were mistaken? Or did you become curious? We would love to hear from you. Have you ever walked into a room, forgot why you were there, and quietly said, "Okay, what was I looking for?" Then immediately looked around to make sure nobody heard you? Some of us have, and in the right context, it can surprisingly be a hint of intelligence. Here's why. Researchers Gary Lupion and Daniel Swingley conducted experiments in which participants searched for objects. Those who said the name of the object out loud often found it faster than those who searched silently. Why? Because speaking sharpens attention. It gives your brain another pathway for organizing information. Think of it like moving files from a cluttered desk onto clearly labeled shelves. Children do this naturally. Watch a young child building with blocks. They're constantly narrating, "This goes here. Now I need the blue one." Over time, much of that self-talk becomes internal, but many adults continue using it because it still helps. Athletes do it, chess players do it, surgeons mentally rehearse procedures. It's not about sounding clever, it's about directing attention.
Here's a challenge. The next time you're tackling a difficult task, try narrating the first few steps out loud. Notice whether it helps you focus. You may find that what felt like an odd habit is actually a practical cognitive tool. Now, let's zoom out. Notice that none of these signs involve having all the answers, memorizing the most facts, having the highest IQ, or using the biggest words. Instead, they all point towards something much more important: a way of thinking, different habits, one underlying principle. So, here's the idea I hope stays with you long after this video ends. Intelligence isn't about standing at the top of the mountain telling everyone else how much you know. It's about continuing to climb, even after you've reached a peak. The smartest people rarely feel like the smartest people. They ask more questions than they answer. They notice what they don't know. They update their beliefs. They stay curious, and they never confuse certainty with wisdom. If you enjoyed this video and want more science-backed ideas on psychology and personal growth, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. And before you go, tell us in the comments which of these 6 signs describes you the most and which one surprised you.